Hi, this is Sarah of Sarah Q Geist DPT Myofascial Release. It's about a month since I did my last video. I took a little bit of a break. I'm a roller skater and I took a tumble and fell and broke the greater trochanter of my femur, which you can see I'm doing really pretty well now. Just really took some time for myself to do some really deep healing, which has been really great. And yeah, it's been nice to have that ability to take time and focus on myself without feeling like I was missing out too much in the greater world, because things are pretty slow still in a lot of ways with this global pandemic, although starting to pick up, and I will be starting to pick up as well here with activities, so looking forward to that. The video that I want to do today is on emotions, and it's on processing and feeling emotions. So I talk a lot in my videos where we're doing a physical kind of myofascial release on softening and allowing sensations to come in, and I think that practice can be really helpful in learning how to do that as far as emotions go as well. A lot of times people think of emotions as something that is kind of an intellectual thing. They kind of have to think about, well, what was I feeling? And they kind of process intellectually, well, that person did something that I didn't like, so I probably was feeling betrayed. But they don't necessarily understand how to process that through our body. Emotions, trauma experiences, all of those things are things that we experience in our body. But for a lot of us, the body and the mind has kind of been separated. It can't be separated in our experience, but our understanding of it has been separated, and that makes us think that we can deal with things intellectually, but in reality we need to be able to deal with them in the body as well. And I think this is part of the reason that symptoms come up for people in different ways. Come up in the body, or they come up in the mind or the psyche. So anyway, I also think that this can be a really helpful process to get more comfortable with, as a lot of us are starting to look at and talk about race in this country. It's something that some of us have been looking at and talking about for a really long time, but it seems like with the death of George Floyd, and that happening, I think, at a time where a lot of us didn't have as much of the distractions as we're used to. And the fact that this has been something that's coming up more and more and more, and we're seeing it because of cell phones. We now have the ability and the opportunity to start to move towards it a little bit more, which I'm grateful for. And it's hard work. And these techniques can help enable you to deal with the sensations that start to come up when you think about race, when you think about, if you're a white person, if you think about white privilege. For a lot of us, that creates some constriction in the body, that can create some defensiveness, and that defensiveness can make it difficult to move forward and to continue to heal really what is our U.S. American greatest wound, I think, is that this country really was kind of built up because of slavery, because of the deaths and the owning, right, of other people. And that's a wound. I feel uncomfortable right now talking about it. It's insane to think that that was a reality. And so when you feel that discomfort, when you're thinking about these issues and how the foundation of our country is still actually affecting our reality today, it can be really helpful to understand how to process those sensations that bubble up, and you might not even necessarily experience them as emotions. It might just kind of be a sensation of like, oh, I don't want to go there, right? That tenseness here. So just starting to notice that and be aware of it. So you can use this for anything. You can use this for emotions that you've been dealing with and feeling for a really long time that you would like to maybe get a break from. And the irony is that in order to get a break from it, you have to stop kind of pushing it away, and you need to start softening around it, embracing it, and seeing what's there a little bit. So, I think if you're wanting to work on this with things that maybe are a little bit milder sensations, you can do that anytime, any place. You can just kind of use some of the general theories of just maybe pausing for a moment, stopping yourself, kind of allowing yourself to really feel into your body, grounding into your body, and we'll do all of this, but just kind of giving you the main framework. And then starting to really feel and notice what sensations you're feeling inside your body, and seeing if you can soften around that and be with that. And then just being. You don't have to go into it and try to get it to shift and change. Just by being with it, it will shift and change. So if you're sitting with something that feels a bit bigger, maybe emotions that have been a struggle for you for a long time, or you're going through an intense emotional period, you've had some things kind of come up for you and be a little bit bigger and in your face, I think this longer practice can be nice. So one of the first things that I think is really important to do is to kind of support yourself using the physical senses, the kind of sensorial organs. I don't know how to say that. So finding a place that feels comfortable for you. Finding, maybe putting on some clothes that feel really nice and comfortable. If you're really into smells, maybe you put a smell on, a scent on, use some massage oil that feels really nice for you, maybe has some positive connotations. So basically what we're doing is we're using that idea of using the senses to kind of bolster you up to be able to process something that's difficult in the actual moment, okay? So you're making yourself as physically comfortable as possible. Are you thirsty? Drink some water before you do this, right? Are you hungry? Maybe you should eat a little bit before you do this. If your emotions are really strong, though, maybe you don't want to be eating at that moment and kind of let yourself process it, but have some food ready so that after you're done processing those emotions, you can start to replenish yourself. So thinking about how to kind of create a framework that's really supportive and helpful for you to be able to go into something that feels difficult. So for me today, this is my backyard, and it's been a really healing place for me. I was joking with my sister that the first 2 weeks after I fell and fractured my femur, that I would just like hobble my way on crutches out and get myself down onto the ground and just lay on the ground until I had to go to the bathroom or until I needed some water for hours. So that's the place that I've chosen, this healing place for me. The temperature is just about perfect. I kind of put myself in the shade because the sun's getting too hot. I have my water nearby. I'm kind of set up and ready to go. And then what you want to do, it's helpful to ground yourself and really kind of not just support yourself in kind of feeling as good as possible, but reminding yourself of the physical structures around you that are literally supporting you. And so just taking a moment and really feeling the ground, if you're sitting on the ground, if you're on a bed, if you have a pillow under your head, whatever position that you've chosen that feels the most comfortable for you, really just taking a few moments and allowing yourself to feel the sensations of your body making contact with the places that it's making contact with. And you can also take your awareness to just kind of the skin or the boundaries, the edges of the body in general. And that can be helpful for you to kind of have an awareness of where your body starts and where your body ends. And if that's hard for you to do, you can just do some gentle touching and really allow yourself to feel the edges of your body by, maybe just some gentle massage or pressing or running your hands up and down the edges of your body. Get the back a little bit, the head a little bit. Our heads, energy of our heads really like to expand and think. And so right now, what we're doing is we're really encouraging you to just be with the sensations of feeling the body. And so as you're going through this process, likely your intellect will want to come in and say, oh, I can handle this, I can figure this out, I know why this is happening. Great. That's good that you are strong in intellect, and now's not the time, so just put that back up on the shelf. And each time that intellect kind of tries to come in to fix things and to handle things and to sort it all out, you can just kind of thank it and allow it to move on for now. And maybe some of this stuff you might need to intellectualize, but for right now, really just focusing on the body. And so all of the things that we've created thus far, feeling the sensations of the boundaries of your body, feeling the places where your body is making contact with the ground or whatever is physically supporting you. And then also the things that you've done already, the comfy clothes, the nice smell, whatever the physical things are that you've created. Those things can help support you at any moment if feeling the emotional sensations gets too strong. You can shift your focus onto those things that feel pleasurable, that feel comfortable, that feel grounded and secure. So know that if at any point during this practice, this process, it becomes overwhelming, bring yourself into focus on those things. Another thing that can be helpful if it's extremely overwhelming is to open your eyes, to look around you, really take in details of the world around you. I can always do some videos on this. If you feel like this process feels a little bit scary for you and you don't quite feel like you have enough tools that you can kind of dive into what you're feeling here, let me know and I'll do some other videos to give you some more supports so that you feel comfortable and supported. But if you're kind of like, why is this woman taking so long to get to the good stuff? You're probably ready. So, you're in your nice comfy place. You've already felt the boundaries of your body. You've already focused on feeling the support of what you're lying on. And what I want you to do is I want you to start to notice the sensations inside of your body. So what are you feeling inside the boundaries of your body? Are you feeling tightness, constriction? Are you feeling openness? Can you feel a sense of energy flowing anywhere? A lot of times these are kind of the more subtle sensations inside of our body. You may feel some discomfort or pain in some places. But I'm talking more about the physical sensations that come with emotions. So I'm going to give you a few examples. And it may not be true for you, but I think sometimes this can feel so inaccessible to people that are new to this, that having some examples can be helpful. So, when I think about joy, when I think about things that bring me joy, the physical sensations inside my body that feel associated to that are an openness, a lightness, a sense of energy flow through my heart. And groundedness, a connection, comfortable solidity through my abdomen and my lower body. So to me, that's what joy would feel like inside my body. When I think of defensiveness, what I feel is a constriction, especially through my throat, my neck, also through my heart, and a real strong urge to kind of draw away. And maybe also a strong urge to kind of draw away, as in pushing something away. So there's like a creation of a strong boundary there. So defensiveness, that's what I think of as defensiveness. Feeling like sadness often feels like pain in my chest, not like a heart attack chest pain, but like an emotional, when somebody says broken heart, that physical sensation. The heaviness, oftentimes heaviness where the heart is so heavy that it draws down into the stomach, and so there can even be a physical kind of movement associated with that. If you look at somebody that's kind of sitting like this, oftentimes you can perceive that as sadness, and there's that physical sensation of the heart heavy and drawing down. And oftentimes for me, sadness is associated with tightness through the throat and through the face, but I think that's a more secondary sensation of me trying to restrict myself from crying, and not actually the primary sensation of sadness. So you can see that with these different sensations, for me, I experience it a lot kind of in the head, neck, torso, and somewhat into the extremities. And that may be different for you. You may notice more of it in the extremities. You may only be able to notice it in your head. You may still have no idea what I'm talking about. And all of that is okay and valid. This is just kind of an exploration. And so once you have some insight and awareness of those sensations, what do you do with that? So all you really need to do is to be with it. So just take a moment and allow yourself to feel any sensations that may be associated with emotions, or maybe even not that strong. And just kind of allow yourself to be with it instead of pushing it away, or instead of trying to kind of grasp it and hold it. Just allow yourself to be with that sensation. And you can explore it with a little bit of curiosity. And maybe already this is really overwhelming for you because the sensation feels so negative. And I would encourage you to just be aware, is the sensation negative, or are the thoughts that you're having around the sensation or around the situation that you perceive to be causing the sensation negative? So again, any thoughts coming in, you're just kind of noticing them and inviting them to leave, and refocusing on sensations in the body and feeling. And as you're noticing on feeling, the thing that can help keep your attention there, because it can be really, really, really hard to just stay with sensations and stay with our body experience. And so I want you to just start to notice, is there any movement? And I don't mean like shifting, like, oh, all of a sudden I don't feel that way anymore. I mean, is there any movement in the sensations? So a lot of times, the sensations with emotions can feel really stuck. And so you may have to go to areas in your body that aren't the primary places that you feel that. So I'll take the example of sadness. The primary place where I feel that sadness often is heaviness in the heart down into the stomach. But I said I also feel a tension in my head, in my face, and in my throat. But that tension tends to have movement, right? I'll feel a well of sadness, and I kind of, I have to tighten a little bit more to hold that down so it doesn't come up. And so if I can focus a little bit on where that movement is, I may be inspired to allow that movement to continue happening, and I might find that instead of tightening, I allow myself to soften, and I allow myself to cry. And if you've ever been pretty sad or really sad and had a good cry and felt better afterwards, then you know how to process emotion. If you've ever been really angry and you did a physical action, took a branch, stick, and hit it against a rock until you felt better, you know how to process emotion. And so as you are finding the place in your body where there's movement, or where there's an ability to soften and shift your response to the primary place, what will likely happen is you will likely feel a desire to do something. And that desire might be to cry, it might be to scream, it might be to punch something, it might be to call somebody really horrible names. It might be confusion. You might feel like you have no idea what to do with that. And that's okay too. So just really allowing yourself to feel that. And the nice thing about doing this as a process is that then you can find a way to let out whatever needs to get let out in a positive way, right? So if you really feel like, I fell into my anger and now I want to beat the crap out of this person, what you can do is you can take that energy and you can beat the crap out of something that will not be harmed by you. I don't mean like physically beat, but do it in a way, take something that you can kind of physically let that energy out with. So punching pillows, screaming into pillows, being in bed and beating your bed. These are all ways that you can let some of that energy shift and change. And then really you're just kind of letting yourself ride those sensations. So you don't want to, if you're doing an action, you don't necessarily want to lose track of connecting with that emotion, right? Because if you just do the action, oftentimes that can be a way to kind of distract ourselves. So you want to make sure that you're still staying with the sensations of the primary emotion, and you're using the action as a way to stay connected and as a way to move that out of your body. And sometimes doing that really slowly can be helpful. So if you're feeling like, man, I just want to push everything away from me, so you can play with that. You can find things. You can get up against a wall and you can really push into a wall, and you can do it quickly. It can be nice if there's a lot of energy there that's really overwhelming. You can do it quickly. But it can also be really nice to do it really slowly so that all parts of your brain, right, your intellect, but also more importantly kind of the more primary, older, reptilian, animalistic parts of your brain can feel that sensation of pushing something away, and you can imagine that it's the thing, the person, or whatever situation that you're pushing away. So as always, please ask me questions. And I guess let me kind of bring you back to it. So if you've really gone through this process and you felt through your body and you felt inside to the emotions and you've softened around them and you've started to process them in some way, metabolize them in some way, and you followed the ebb and flow of those emotions, because that's what's going to happen. So you're going to feel a welling of that emotion, and then it's going to subside a little bit, and a welling and a subsiding. And when you feel like after a subsiding has happened and you feel like your process is complete, or maybe you feel like you need your process to be complete for now, that can be a good time to just bring yourself back to the time and place. Right? So really, again, feeling the boundaries of your body and feeling the places where you're connected to the ground, connected to the things that are physically supporting you, your bed, pillow, the floor, whatever it is, chair. And then you can just remind yourself of the time and place. Kind of seems silly, but you can remind yourself of the date, what time of day it is. Remind yourself, where you are, kind of the room around you or the area around you. Focus on the sounds around you. If your eyes are closed, you can open them when you feel ready and really look at the things around you. Notice the details, notice the colors, notice the textures, notice individual specific objects and specific qualities of those objects. And again, do it slowly, really take time. Don't just scan, because that's kind of a trauma response, that hypervigilance. But actually really look and notice what the letters, the wordings say on the things around you, or just really take your time with each of those elements. You might find that it's helpful to journal a little bit. It can be another way to process and get some of that out. And then also just really support yourself and give yourself what you need. So probably not necessarily the time to make some big decisions, but you might kind of have some insight of things that maybe you need to shift for yourself, conversations that you need to have that maybe you didn't feel like you could have with all of that pressure build up, but maybe you can now. Or maybe you're realizing you feel alone and you need somebody to talk to, and so figuring out who that person is for you. Or maybe you're realizing, oh wow, I just really need to take a shower and kind of let this go a little bit more. So just kind of letting yourself continue to be with the process a little bit, in the sense of, what do you need to kind of complete this moment of processing and to kind of get back to the rest of your day. So I hope this has been helpful. Please reach out to me with any questions that you have. If you have any desire for additional videos, let me know. And I hope you are doing well, and hope that you are kind of coming out of this time of self-containment in a way that feels really helpful and nourishing for you.